What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about mistakes that foreigners make in the UK. I'm always very interested in hearing these kind of embarrassing stories when people visit and live in the UK, when foreigners go and visit the UK. I think it's because I can kind of really relate to it. Like, as an American, I feel like I would make all of these embarrassing mistakes. And I've also come to the conclusion that there's varying degrees of mistakes, different severity of mistakes. Like, if you go to the UK as an American and you accidentally say French fries instead of chips, not that big a deal. Well, you know, everyone will survive. It's okay. If you go to the UK and you don't understand how to queue, you don't understand queuing, and you don't do it, like, that's worse. That's bad. It's not the end of the world, but people are gonna look at you funny or say something, so it's not good. So that's kind of in the middle. And then, I don't know, most severe mistake would be like going to the UK and you don't remember that cars go on the different side of the road. So you cross the road and you look the wrong way and you get hit by a car and splattered on the side of the road. That would be a pretty severe mistake. So I'm interested to see what kind of mistakes we're going to learn today that foreigners are inclined to do when visiting the UK. So I'm quite excited for this. Let's take a look.
First one, I'll keep it fast and simple. I call them highways. They're a motorway here. And you know what's even stupider is that...
Yeah, okay. This isn't too bad. This is, like, understandable. Although, man, is this even a huge deal? It's absolutely true. I know that this woman is Australian, but in America we say highway as well. In the UK, it is motorway. I don't see this one as being a huge deal, because you just, like, see signs everywhere and it says motorway, and I don't know, I feel like even us Americans would understand what's going on.
That when I'm in Australia, the main highways are called, like, the M5, the M4, the M whatever. So It's literally called motorway, but for some reason my brain has learnt highways, and it's very hard to break, as you just saw. So I need to start getting used to the motorway. I do if I...
Maybe, like, when talking to people, this is kind of a thing, but I still don't think this is a huge deal. This is like level 1 severity, saying highway instead of motorway. If someone said motorway to me, I'd think it was odd, but I would understand. I think I'd understand even what they're trying to say. Maybe highway sounds like a bit strange to people in the UK, but I feel like people in the UK have probably heard that word before from, like, an American television show or something. So even people in the UK would know what it meant.
I'm referring to a specific road, like the M25, I'll say the M25. If I'm referring to, like, highways in the UK, are like blah, and then I always get corrected, and I'm like, I knew the answer, but it's just really hard to break something that...
Is that just her friends that like to correct her instantly? Do Brits get a real kick out of being like, it's motorway, spotted the American. We're like, where's the nearest highway? Like, motorway. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. Or is that, maybe that's just her friends getting on her about the proper vernacular.
That's so commonly said. The other thing with your highways, I get embarrassing because I don't know how it works, and I still don't know how it works, but I think I'm not doing anything wrong. Please don't tell me I am.
Oh.
You guys have a lot of speed cameras, that's fine, we have speed cameras, and then you have an average speed camera on motorways.
Average speed camera? Speed camera. I don't think, American highways don't really have cameras measuring speed, like, much at all. Pretty much never. People are speeding all the time on the highway in the United States. Makes it feel like it's a little crazy out here. Are we all just barbarians? Are people in Australia and in the UK having, like, cameras that are making sure everyone is abiding the speed limit? Because in America, people regularly go 10, 15 miles over the speed limit on the highway. And I don't even know what an average speed camera is.
And then you have an average speed camera on motorways, where it takes your number plate, measures how far you get to the next point, and then averages it, and if it's over, it takes your photo.
What? Wait, what? Whoa, wait, this is like a whole thing I didn't know existed. How common is this? On a UK motorway, not highway, average speed camera? Is this a thing? Like, I've never heard of this. Man, this would just make the American highway system collapse. Like, Americans speed their butts off. And it's kind of accepted in a way. Like, it's kind of okay. Everyone just kind of adjusts their speed to be like, okay, 10 miles more over the limit.
Understand the concept. We have those in Australia, but they only count for trucks, so I've never worried. But I'm not a speedy person. I'm like pretty compliant. I like to follow the rules. So.
Oh my gosh. I feel like this would be this is an American trap. This affects Americans the most. We're the craziest on the road, I tell you. What? It takes your picture of your license plate at one point and then another, and then it knows how long it took you to get there. And it can calculate your average speed. I understand the technology, and I'm a little afraid of it.
What I normally do when I'm on a motorway is put on my cruise control.
Yeah.
So that way I can't accidentally speed, you know, because when you're doing a long drive, it's easy to lose track if you're feeling complacent. So I know I'm not in the wrong because I don't speed.
So you have to set your cruise control to the actual speed limit. Whereas in America, like, we would all set our cruise control, yes, but over the speed limit. And these cameras would get us every time. Oh my gosh.
And most of the time I'm in traffic, so I'm like, there's no chance I'm averaging anything above 20 miles an hour at the moment. This is where the confusing bit comes. Sorry I've rambled so much about how the roads work, you guys know.
Whoa, I didn't know this. I didn't know any of this. This is big news. Big news to me. Breaking news.
At the end of the zone, it takes photos randomly. I don't understand. I had someone who was like tailgating me so bad, and I was like, I'm not about to get a ticket because you're impatient. So I was like, I don't care, and I'm like going slow. And then the things went off, and then I had like a full panic. I'm like, did I just get a ticket? Oh my god, blah blah blah. I'm still on my Australian license. So I'm like, is that bad? It's like, so I just anxiously waited.
So they're cameras and they'll randomly go off as well? Randomly go off, why? For what purpose?
This was like 3-4 months ago now, so I know I'm in the clear. If I had a fine, it would have come, but I just...
Right, that's kind of what happens. Your camera takes a picture of you, you think that you're waiting for a fine or something, and you just kind of are like, okay, 10 years have passed, I guess it's okay.
Don't know why they go off randomly, and then I see them going off quite a lot, and I'm like, surely not everyone is speeding like that, so I don't understand. Please enlighten me. Why do the cameras go off so much on motorways? It gives me anxiety.
Is it really easy to tell when the cameras are going off? This makes it seem like they have a big flash or really obvious when these cameras go off and take your photo. So I guess she couldn't tell they're going off, and she doesn't think she's doing anything wrong, so she's confused. And so am I, a bit, to be honest.
So bad. My next embarrassing thing, I think will surprise no one. I have to consciously remember to call them flip-flops. They are thongs to me.
Flip-flops, okay. This is great. Okay, this is perfect. This is one Americans don't have to worry about at all. Although I've heard thongs before. That's not what a thong is in the United States, though. It's not at all what a thong is. You can Google that on your own time. Or maybe it's the same in the UK, I don't know. But we do call them flip-flops, so I can just rest easy knowing, I can sleep easy knowing that if I were ever in the UK, I would address flip-flops in the correct way. Thank goodness.
Which, if I'm with Daniel, is less embarrassing. However, if we're in public and I'm like, oh, you should pack your thongs, that sounds crazy to people. So I'm always trying to say flip-flops.
I didn't even think of that. That sounds ridiculous.
And I've Googled this. Australia is the only country in the world that says thongs for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to change my vocabulary to say flip-flop. Now that's the word people are going to expect.
Oh, this is so unfortunate. So unfortunate for Australians. That's what they call thongs. Wow, I didn't know that.
Even if I'm not in the UK, if I'm in like America, Brazil, wherever,
right,
I want to be saying flip-flop because thong is the worst, and similar to highway, it just slips out because I'm so used to it.
Right.
I also get critiqued because I say data. No, I don't. I say data. See, I've learnt to correct myself.
I could see this happening if you travel outside your country to another English-speaking country. You like forget what pronunciation you even give things. So she's saying she used to say data?
Because I say data. No, I don't. I say data. See, I've learnt to correct myself. I say data because when I say data, it's quite getting better now, but when I used to say it used to sound really American. It used to be like data, data. Like.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we all talk like that. Data. Bill, can you pull up the database real quick for me? Like, yeah, that's exactly how we sound. Man, this one is so ambiguous in the United States. I don't even know what most Americans say. I think most Americans do say data, like database, but some people will say data, and that wouldn't stick out to me if an American said data. It's almost like entirely random. At least from what I can, like, if I'm thinking about it, and I truly don't have a bias either way. So that it's kind of funny, actually.
It used to sound weird. So I've been like, in my job, I have to analyze data.
I mean, data does sound fancier. So I think that is the sort of the British way of saying it, right? Data. I think more people say data. More people say data in the United States, but some people say data. That's what's throwing me off, but not as many. It's just not really a word we throw around very often, like in my life. So it's tough for me to even think about data.
Keeps coming up when I'm like, oh, the data shows this, the data that. My data is this. Will that come up in the data? And every time I'm like, data.
If this was a word that like you used a lot in your job, I could see where it actually could drive you crazy trying to remember which way to say it. So in the UK, it's one way. It's data. The fancy way. Data. Show me the data.
So I'm trying to say data more.
It's data. I am literally at the point where I genuinely do not even know which way I would say it. This is weird. This is actually getting weird. I don't even know which way is the way to say it or the way that Brits say it.
I don't get corrected constantly.
Data would be more American. Data would be more British, right?
The other one that came up...
Hold up.
Data. So I'm trying to say data more, so I don't get corrected constantly. The other one that came up at my Christmas party...
I think she even got it backwards at the end there. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what's going on.
I say backyard, which I realised the UK do not say backyard.
What?
You guys say garden, which I think is so much nicer.
Talk about fancy. Do all people in the UK have a garden going on around their house? A garden is a thing. That's plants. It implies like a nice little garden with some flowers perhaps or plants, whereas everyone has a backyard. A yard in the back of their house. Backyard. Even us Americans can understand this concept. But a garden? I had no idea that in the UK you would call a backyard the garden? Is that correct? Am I understanding this correctly?
So yeah, I was talking to a guy at my work and he was talking about his dog, and I have a dog, so we were like connecting. He was saying his dog was destroying his house, and I was like, oh, do you have a backyard you could put him in? And he's like, garden? And I was like, sorry, do you have a garden that you can put him in? And he's like,
what? The word backyard is not used in the UK? Really? That is so random. I would never have thought of that one. Ever. All right, perfect. I mean, perfect mistake a foreigner may make in the UK. Exactly the topic we're talking about. Okay, I'm learning today.
Like, yes. And then, so I was like, it just keeps coming up. Because I think when you hear yard, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like your first instinct is more of a measurement, not a backyard. I don't know where this came from. I don't know why Australians say backyard or front yard rather.
Americans say backyard and front yard. I didn't know about this garden stuff. I didn't.
Than back garden and front garden. Is that how you call it, or is it just the garden?
Yeah, what's the front? What's the back? Is this a thing? The garden? You're telling me there's no front yard and backyard in the UK? Is that correct?
Is the garden always in the back? What do you call the front garden?
Yeah.
Adding to the
What?
Embarrassment.
What?
Is that I often call things pants. Oh man, pants in general I get messed up. Pants. I know are underwear, like underpants.
Pants. Classic. Classic. I know this one. Pants in America. That is the stuff we wear on the outside of our legs. Whereas pants in the UK, that's the stuff underneath. Your undergarments. What we would call underwear is pants in the UK. I think I know this one.
I call them undies.
Undies.
Or underwear. I've been trying to say jeans and trousers and stay away from pants, but...
Man, this would be such a tough one. This would be such a tough one for a foreigner to change going to the UK. Because pants, that's a word you use a lot. You put on pants every day. You call pants pants every day. So that's actually a word that's like very, very used. You might not use backyard often or highway and motorway, but pants you probably would say. So that's a tough one to rewire your brain when in the UK. Yeah, I sympathize.
Or leggings, like say what it is, not like a collective. And I'm getting better at it. I think the first time the other day I said the word pants or underwear, and I was like, I'm learning, I'm slowly getting there.
Oh, she used pants in the correct way in the UK. Very good, very good.
Weirdly, that one's been easier to adapt than say like motorway, but
yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So I've been here, what
Wow.
we call it, say 8 months-ish, give or take. I've been to London many times. Like, so if you add up all the times I've been in the UK, I would say I've been here a year, like from years past.
Okay.
You'd think I'd know the tube system. I'm normally so good at it, but...
Oh, the tube system. The London Tube. I was like, what? Tubes? Like sending stuff through tubes? Is this some kind of secret tube traveling system that I don't know about in London? No. It's the tube. It's like the subway, right? Like the what we would call a subway, underground rail system.
I just had so much of like a brain fart day the other day, and a journey that should have taken me an hour at most took me an hour and a half, and I ended up what should have been 2 or 3 trains depending on the route I take. I ended up getting on 8 different trains because I kept getting on ones that like it was the Circle District combination, so ones that were going the wrong way.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Like I don't live in a big city or anything with like America already doesn't really do the whole public transport. You'll find some public transportation in our big cities. And yeah, so I don't know anything about that. This sounds scary to me. I feel like I'd be stuck in this circle tube like all day. I am worried.
Or ones that were going to random offshoots or something. Like I can't. Ugh.
Yeah.
And then even when I got on the right train, it was just so stupid that I got off the train, waited for the correct train to arrive at the station, and then that one was like changed to a circle line instead of a district. I was like, ugh.
Circle line. I don't even know what a circle line is. I think whatever is happening to her would happen to me more. I'm afraid. So definitely a good one for her to mention.
Oh, I just want to get home. And then where I live on the Northern Line, and if you know the Northern Line, it forks. I always know I get on the line with a certain name on it.
Okay.
After 6 trains, my brain just switched off and I just jumped on the next Northern Line train, not checking where it was going. So then I had to get off the train, get on another one going the opposite direction, and go back down to a connecting one and go back up to get home. It was like, what? Have I even been to London before? Jesus,
right.
Like, God. Even a year later, I still make... I was just like one of those days, you know, where you just like can't...
This is especially... I see where this is especially like frustrating for her, because she's been living in the UK for a year, and then this happens, and it's like... I could absolutely see this happening to myself or any American, for sure.
Make a right choice. Do you know another word I say wrong is I say route, because route means something very different in Australia, and
route.
In Australia you can say route or route. I go...
Route. In America we say route, mostly. Some weird Americans might say route, some weird ones. The same ones that say data. Probably, wherever they are. I think most of us say root, even though there's another word for like a tree root, Like it's all the same pronunciation. So in the UK, is it route?
With route, because route means something a bit more nefarious. And so I don't like using that term. So like to me that means that, so...
No, she says route. It sounds like in the UK it's also route. Like you're going to drive down a specific route.
Now I use the American, but that's just because I don't want to say like sex, you know, so it's hard. So I'm trying to get into saying route and just removing the negative connotations to my mind.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, there's quite a few here that are like just pronunciations of words. Not even words that mean different things, like underwear and pants, but words you can pronounce differently, like data and route. And that kind of stuff would be the hardest to relearn, because I can't even keep it straight in this video. So that's actually like super good examples of kind of embarrassing stuff I'm sure foreigners make a mistake with all the time in the UK. So I'm actually enjoying this like immensely. This is good information. It's a lot. We're actually only halfway through this video. So I'm going to stop here for now and finish this in part 2. So if you've enjoyed this video so far, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in part 2 of this video, or just more videos like this in general, me reacting to Britain and British culture and stuff in the UK I've never seen or learned about, feel free to subscribe for more of that. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.